We're back for more touring car action at Texas Motor Speedway. This is the Alpha Touring Challenge Rewind. We're here, Season 1, Round 4 of the Alpha Touring Challenge. Let's get you caught up, because we had to skip Round 3 due to that version of Watkins Glen being retired. We couldn't get to the replay. Let's get to the results. In the first heat, this was the first ever sprint challenge. Slugnificent brings home his first career heat victory, finishing 4/10 ahead of teammate Logan McKenzie. The two drove away from the rest of the field, finishing 5 seconds up from third place finisher Francois Schenck. In the second heat, it was a similar story. Slug once again 4/10 ahead of his teammate at the line. They dominated the field, but then when it got to the feature race, it was Francois Schenck who was harassing McKenzie at the front. Slug fell back. McKenzie went forward for his second career victory and his second in a row, bolstering him in the championship standings. Let's take a look at those before we get down to the race today. And here's how they line up after Watkins Glen. Francois Schenck still holds a slim 8-point lead over Logan McKenzie, and it's another 6 points to Slugnificent, and then Benjamin Forster, who is not here today, is another 6 points off of that. You see a couple new names on the board there, and those are our debutantes for today. John Lazon, August Blondal, and Spencer Cockane all here for the first time. Spencer Elliott debuted at Watkins Glen. He picked up 5 points. He's in the field today as well. Here's what they have today. The Texas Road Course. You just have to look at it. It is something. There's going to be a lot of slipstream action. If you take a look at the grid, you have John Lazon out front on pole for his debut race, 5/10 faster than the Slug. Then Schenck, McKenzie, and Cox. They're going to lead off this 9-car field to the green flag. The safety truck is off, and we are green at Texas Motor Speedway. It's round 4 of the Alpha Touring Challenge, and John Lazon has that inside line for this first lap, and he's going to take it, driving them down into the first corner. Schenck on his tail. It's the two yellow flag teammates on the top line. That is Slug and McKenzie. Spencer Elliott hanging out in 5th behind. Then it's Cox, Blondal, and Camilleri. It looks like Lauzon is going to hold on to the first place position here. It's going to be tight through this road course section. There's not a whole lot of room for moves to be made as they all line up coming out of the first hairpin of the inside. It's sort of, you have 2 back-to-back hairpins and then a sort of S-curve in the middle. So there's a lot of room for dives, but you don't necessarily have the run-up to get close enough to do it. So we might see some optimistic moves here today. You'll see the entry to the road course is very strange. It's very difficult. You have to brake as you're coming off the banking, so it's hard to get the car stable through there, and I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to overtake going onto the road course. John Lazon has a pretty sizable lead here, 5/10 of a second over Slug, but let's see how much that closes up from the slipstream. And you see it start to come down. Look at this. Slug has already gained a 10th, and now he is gaining more. Lazon 5/10 faster on that lap, but look, Slug has closed it all back up. It is all there. He's going to be on the bumper of Lazon, and a half-second gap is not enough of a lead coming off onto the oval. And Slug takes the lead from Lazon heading onto the second lap. He does lead that first lap, but now it is the Slug who is out front. Francois Schenck going really wide behind, trying to work every line he can to get back into this battle. McKenzie hanging out behind. Then it is Spencer Elliott and Wiley Cox in 5th and 6th. August Blondal on debut as well in 7th. And Spencer Cockane battling Joe Camilleri for 8th position on his debut. You're going to see guys start to get impatient here. It's an hour-long race, but being out in front has its advantages. You get the clean air. You don't have to work as hard. John Lazon looking to the right side here. Going to take a wider line through the hairpin, and that's going to open the door to Francois Schenck. It's going to be interesting. Do you want to stay behind and suffer the dirty air, but at the same time you're getting the slipstream? You can probably save more fuel, but up front it's probably easier to save the tires. The tires probably will not be as much of a factor in this race. The pit stops could really determine the winner of this one based on how they break up the field, because right now they're going to be locked heel-toe in this slipstream. And you're going to see them get on the brakes right about there is where they have to start slowing down for this, and they're all going to get on them, and you see them stacking up into this one. Schink going really optimistic, trying to stick a nose in there, doesn't work, and now he has McKenzie on his tail. Lazan has a run, he's going to have a nose up the outside, compromise Slug's line, and now coming out of the corner, look at this little S-curve they have to go through this road course, cut across the dirt. There's going to be a ton of dirt on the track by the time this one is done, but just not able to get close enough before that next set of hairpins. And we continue with this as the status quo. Slug in front, then it's Lazan, Schink, and McKenzie. Oh, and the Slug has gotten it wrong. He has a little bit of a slide coming out of the hairpin there. And now he has yielded the inside line to Lazan. Schink watches on from behind. We're going to go on board watching here. Look at this slipstream. The Slug has none of it, and it's going to allow Schink to get really close here. But now Lazan is coming back to them, and it looks like the Slug might be getting a little bit of a side draft here. He's working his way around the outside. He's going to hold this middle lane through as they come down to the corner. Who's going to win out? We're still on board with Schink. McKenzie close behind. They're going side by side, 2 by 2. And it looks like Lazan's going to hold that inside. Schink has to slow up a little bit. He's still got a nose in there, but Slug is ahead and a big shunt. They make contact, and now there's a little bit of front end damage to Lazan's car, but they're going to go too wide again through this S-curve. That's going to be really dicey, but it's going to keep the nose in. Oh, the Slug left the door open, and now not only is the 77 going to go through, but perhaps the 18 of Schink. He gets a little loose on entry. Is he going to touch the Slug here as well? No, he avoids contact, and that has placed the 77 back in front here, but a bit of a bad entry on corner, mid-corner there. Slug makes contact with him. That stacks them all up, and they're going to get a big run at him in the slipstream here. Here we go. They're coming back to the road course, and that slipstream has paid off as the Slug goes to the outside. Francois going in really deep, trying to get a piece of this. He hasn't been able to find his way around either of these two yet. McKenzie hasn't been harassing him too much. It's kind of just been Lazan and Slug trading places up front, and they continue to kind of duel here along the backside of this road course. You can see the front end damage that Lazan has picked up, and I wonder if that will hurt him aerodynamically later in this race as he gets again really close to the back bumper of the Slug. And they're going to continue to line up and run these laps. They have 52 more minutes of this left. At some point, you've got to wonder if they'll just settle down and wait for pit stops. And it looks like Spencer Elliott's had a moment here. We're going to see what happened. He's trying to make a move on Spencer Cockane here, and just loses it a bit under braking, goes wide, and then is all the way out in the grass, and doesn't put it in reverse. He's going to go the long way around, and I think they've brought that one behind the garage at this point. All right, this group had settled down for a moment here, but it looks like Lazan is scoping out a move on this lap, and he's got Schink close behind. He's committed at this point because Schink has his nose in on the inside, so Lazan's going to try and make this outside line work, and I don't know what he's going to do here. It's going to depend on who Slug kind of blocks under braking. It's going to be Schink. Shink's going to roll off his rear bumper, get really loose under braking there, and now coming out of the hairpin, he is going to be neck and neck with Lazan. This is a good chance for him to finally take second place and get by one of the two lead cars here, but still not able to get it done. And now Slug had gotten that corner wrong, and Lazan is in next to him, and suddenly it's a battle for the lead again for those two. He's on the back bumper, really close. Slug's kind of drifted to the inside and back up front. There's a strike to his rear bumper. They all stack up again, and that is even more damage to the front end of that 77. And the Canadian is beating the heck out of that front bumper. They're waiting to see if driver makes a move this lap. Schink just backed off. He had a big run. He kind of goes to the outside. Now Lazan is going to make a move for the lead here against Slug. Going to take a very narrow line here. He's not going to get as good of a run out. And actually, Shink's going to have the momentum. And Lazan's not going to be able to close the door on him. So this may be Shink's actual first real chance here. And he does get by a little tap. And he's going to close the deal, and that is a change in position there. Well done by the 18. And now he has his sights set on the 14 just ahead. He has held the lead for quite some time now. There have been a couple of close moments, and he's been pushing really wide in some of these corners recently. It's been opening the door. You see there, he takes a really wide exit, and Francois almost gets a nose in. And now they're all playing bumper cars as Lazan goes into Schink, goes into Slug. And McKenzie's just kind of back there. He hasn't really been sticking his nose in anything as we continue to wait for the required pit stop for fuel and tires. And at this point, we have switched to front tires only as a requirement. So the rear tires, they are not going to have to spend the time on pit road to get those swapped out anymore. All right, this could be Francois' first real look at the lead. He goes for a very wide outside line. Gonna have to bring it back in, and Lazan is there. He taps him, and then he comes back. The whiplash, it hits Lazan back, and he loses his position to McKenzie. And now Lazan has gone from where he was in first all the way back to fourth, and he's just kind of getting shuffled back. Not sure if that damage is slowing him down, but he's getting really close to McKenzie here. He might go for an immediate move for that position back, and he will. It looks like McKenzie is going to let him have it here. Lazan back into third for the moment. But as they creep back to the final hairpin, they're losing a bit of time doing this. But McKenzie's going to keep his nose in, try and go for a switchback. But Lazan keeps the grip up, gets a good exit, and we are away. Slug with his biggest lead of the day yet. He's got a second gap on Schink at this point. August Blondal now in the pits on what we can assume is a pit stop within the scheduled window. Schink's still 7/10 off of the Slug here. He's going a bit wide on corner exit, and Lazan's going to go through. That almost looked like Schink let him by, but maybe he had just pushed really wide and understeered there. Not sure, but I imagine that Schink knows what he's doing here. It's not like they're having any kind of trouble keeping up with Slug. This slipstream is pretty powerful. We're going to look here. Lazan is 1 second off of the Slug. And that gap, you're going to see it start to creep down even at this distance. They are still getting a little bit of tangible benefit. I think that Lazan does have some aero damage because he should be gaining more than that. And Schink actually just backed off going around him there. So Schink is playing some kind of strategy here, playing it conservatively. Well, McKenzie going really wide into that corner there. But we'll see how this plays out for them. Right now, Lazan is holding on to the back of Slug. And is faster than him through these road course sections. He's making up the ground that he's not necessarily gaining under slipstream. It didn't take long. Now Lazan is going to make his first attempt at getting around Slug after catching him there. We're 22 minutes into this one. Still a little bit of time before pit stops are coming. Slug's going to take a wider line into the hairpin, and Lazan's going to get his nose in there. Slug has to yield that position going through this S-curve. This is actually a little tricky doing this. They're going to make it work. They give each other the space. They're keeping about a half car's width between them, but now the squeeze is on, heading down into the hairpin. Slug taking a wider line. He may have the advantage, but there's not a whole lot of grip out there, so he's going to struggle to get the power down, and Lazan is ahead completely, and Slug is going to back out for the next corner as Lazan takes a defensive line. That's going to allow Schink to really roar up to the back of his bumper, but he had nowhere to go, nowhere to take that momentum, so it is going to be Lazan into the lead of this race. And it looks like Cockayne has had some kind of issue here. Oh, he's got that right front damage. He's just come out of the front infield grass. And he has yet to pit, so he does have a fast repair waiting in the garage for him. Meanwhile, Slug has completely gone around the outside of John Lazon, and I think this is, showing that aero damage. He's able to get so far ahead off the slipstream. You don't see that typically. You see them stall out once they pull alongside. But now it is Slug back into the lead, and Lazon is relegated to that second position. He's going to have to wait until the pit stop, get that fast repair, and then he'll be able to fight for the lead properly again. Slug holding a 0.2 of a second gap here. You're not going to see Lazon get much closer than this. And there is a car on the apron. That is Francois Schink. He is pitting early. He's going for the undercut. And will we see the others react to this? This is interesting. Will he lose? He's deduced that he's losing too much time waiting for them to fight in the slipstream. He thinks that he can make the time up and get past them by coming down pit lane early, and there he goes into his box. Slug and John are coming out of the first hairpin that enters onto the road course. McKenzie close behind in tow. With Schink out of the way, this will allow McKenzie to tow up a little bit closer on a slipstream, perhaps. Let's see if anybody decides to come into the pits this time around. Schink now on pit exit. He's got the fresh set of front tires on, and it looks like he's come out about 40 seconds back from the other drivers. And that does track the pit lane stop. It was 38 seconds. Or I'm sorry, it was 46 seconds. Took 20 seconds to run the stop. That's about the minimum you can do when still putting on tires. So he got the fuel in, got the tires in. Slug and Lazon coming to NASCAR 4 now, and they will react. Slug is on pit road, Lazon is on pit road, and McKenzie is on pit road. And now we wait and see how this stacks up. Looks like Slug may have had a slow entry as Lazon kind of had to avoid running into the back of him there. They are all coming down pit lane, and we are waiting to see Schink. You're going to see the 3 leaders pull into their pit stalls here, and Schink is coming out of the road course now. So he's entering NASCAR 3. You're going to see other cars coming on the screen. You're going to see August Blondal go by, Spencer Cockane go by. And then that is Wiley Cox. He has yet to pit, so he will go one more lap. He will lead a lap. He's going for that bonus point. All 3 of these guys out of pit lane, but look at this. McKenzie has beaten not only his teammate off pit lane, but he may have been fast enough to beat Lazon out pit lane. He's running that high side. Where is Schink? He's going to get them all going around the outside. The undercut has worked beautifully for him, and he sails through into the lead. McKenzie trying to finish this move on Lazon. Schink has actually overcooked it a little. It's allowing Lazon back into this, and now we have a scrap immediately off pit road for the prospective lead of this race. Lazon tucks back in behind Schink. Slug ahead of McKenzie, and now we have 33 minutes of racing ahead of us to finish this race. They got fresh fronts on. Slug to the inside of Lazon. He's trying to get back up there immediately. He got past his teammate. He's trying to get past the 77. They're going wheel to wheel as they head into the final hairpin to get off the road course. And Lazon gets a lot of curb, but he's able to get a good exit. And he gets around, and that is going to keep him in 3rd place, what will soon be 2nd place, as Wiley Cox pulls onto pit road. And let's see if he will lead a lap here. It's actually going to be kind of close, as the field comes across the line right there. I think he did lead the lap, but that was very close. And Schink continues on as your leader. Well, this group has shuffled the lead around a couple times now, just in the last 8 minutes alone. There have been so many lead changes in this one. And now, Slug defending on the inside from Lazan. We still have half this race left effectively on lap 29. You see McKenzie has been dropping off a little bit there. He's struggling to keep up with this group as these two leaders go side by side. And now McKenzie's gone way off. Oh, he's in the gravel. And that is going to snap him off of that lead pack. If he is not quick enough to keep up, then he may have just rendered this a top 3 instead of a top 4. Lazan slips back behind Slug, and it does look like it's going to be a 3-way battle for the lead from here on. Just over 20 minutes to go, and Slug still holds this lead. These guys, Lazan has been probing him a little bit. For the most part, they've calmed down. They're going around the lapped cars of, there's August Blondal, and then Spencer Cock came behind. McKenzie has now slipped to 2.3 seconds back. Lazan trying to look for a move here, but you see they're being more measured here as they come through. And now, oh, there's contact there, and McKenzie is touched by, looked like August Blondal, and a little bit of a scrap between him and the lap traffic. And that is going to lose him another half second to this group. And this group is closer than ever. Shink has been kind of sitting behind the 77 for about 10 minutes now, not pushing too hard. The 77's been probing Slug where he could, but with just 20 minutes to go, track position is going to become more and more valuable because it's become kind of clear first place is defensible, and these guys have picked up on how to do it. Look at there's a huge shunt to the rear of John Lazan. And these guys are really pushing each other through these corners. But it is possible to defend the lead, and we're seeing it done as these guys do. The same person is holding on to the lead for large chunks of time. So these guys are going to get more urgent. They're not going to want to wait to the last lap and then rely on the slipstream because they can't just sail on by. There's a fight in it. So this is it. If these two want to do something about Slug, they're going to have to do it here. We just got 2 laps to go. That time by. We're on lap 42. We're going for 43 laps here in this hour-long race. And these two are going to be looking for a move. It's going to be Lazan up the outside, Shink down the inside. Oh, and he's going to hold second place. And those two continue to go side by side and kind of compromise themselves. And now Shink has to slow up a lot there. Lazan sticks a nose in. Oh, he gets a little tap. Shink's gonna hold on. Lazan backs out of it, and that helps Slug out as now there's only a lap and a half left, and look at this gap. 6 tenths, and then another 4 tenths back to Lazan. And I don't know what these two are gonna do here because they've kind of tried everything at this point. It's been almost 30 minutes since Slug took this lead, and he has not looked like he has ever wanted to relinquish it. He's been perfectly comfortable hanging out in the front, and now he's going to get the white flag here at Texas Motor Speedway. Can he bring home his first career Alpha Touring Challenge win? Let's wait and find out. Here he comes across the start-finish line for lap 43 here at Texas. Shink looking up the right side, and he is going to use the slipstream. Oh, but he's going to tuck back in. He's kind of weighing his options. How close does he want to get? Here comes Lazan with the momentum. Down to the hairpin. And Lazan into the rear bumper of Slug. Francois goes around the outside. Slug's going to be looking to defend this one. Cuts across Francois' nose. Oh, he stops him in his tracks. And now Lazan going up the inside. All of this happening on the last lap. Lazan going for P2. Now he's going for P1. He's alongside Slug, trying to keep it in there through the S's, but he can't do it. He tucks back in. If he can get a good run out of the road course, though, he might have a shot. Slug playing it defensive. That's going to keep them close. Lazan up the outside for the lead, not able to get the grip down, and now it's him and Shink side by side. The Slug is clear. The Slug is free to take this on a normal racing line. Lazan's going to have a compromised one along with Shink, and I think that may have just ended the race, but Lazan is fairly close. Can he get the slipstream back up there to 4 tenths gap? I'm not sure that it's going to happen. This is going to be a first-time victory for the 14 for Slugnificent. He brings it home in his 4th career start at Texas Motor Speedway after an hour of slipstream prowess. And you can see he is very happy about that one. Already doing some celebratory wiggling. And wow, that was quite the battle. Lazan does, and he snaps his teammates' win streak. McKenzie had one at Summit Point and then Watkins Glen. But Slug strikes back. He has now won 3 of the last 4 race sessions, winning 2 of the sprint races at Watkins Glen, and now the victory in his first feature here. New drivers doing well on their debuts. Spencer Cockayne bringing home 6th, just 2 laps down, and then August Blondal in 7th. And these two, for their first time in these cars, did not look too bad, kept it mostly clean. As you can see, they brought it home. And for John Lazan, this is about as good of a debut as you could ask for. He brings home 2nd place in that 77. But the win just eluded him. You have to imagine that is close on the horizon. It's going to be on his mind in future events. Well, that is it from Texas Motor Speedway. This was one of the highlights of Season 1. It was the perfect mix of slipstream and side-by-side battling. You couldn't just get by with the slipstream alone. You had to put a little extra into it. There was a lot of bumping and banging, and those 3 up front put on a fantastic race. So the Slugnificent comes home the victor here at Texas Motor Speedway. It's a 1st place for Yellow Flag Motorsports. Then John Lazan and Francois Schink round out the podium. Then Logan McKenzie in 4th, Wiley Cox in 5th, and it's Cockayne, Blondal, Camilleri, and Elliott to finish off your 9-car field here at Texas Motor Speedway. And now, after 4 races, it's a 13-race championship, so we are almost a third of the way through. What do the point standings look like now that Slug has a win, McKenzie has 2 wins, and Schink has a win? Well, it is still just on for Schink. He had an 8-point lead coming into this race. It's been narrowed to 7 points, but that is because the person behind him has changed. Slug takes over from his teammate McKenzie for 2nd place. McKenzie slots down into 3rd. Then it is Cox, Forster, Camilleri, Foes, Lazan, Benaw, and Darnell. Then Ensing, Nichols, Elliott, Cockayne, and Blondal. 15 cars participated so far. And right now, the grids are pretty small. It's really nice to be able to focus in on these battles that we remember so fondly because we were all so close for there being so few cars, and the field only gets closer, only gets larger. There's a lot more great moments contained within Season 1 and beyond, and I hope you'll stay on board with us as we walk through them all. This has been the Alpha Touring Challenge Rewind.